I'm about to have one of the longest nights of my life. I'm recording, as you guys can see, my Dynamite review. And then I still got my NXT review. Once that is over, then me and Susie are hitting the road and heading to see my kids for the Father's Day weekend. So that's going to be fun. Speaking of Father's Day, some house news I want to take care of before I really get into this review and everything. Speaking of Father's Day at 10 a.m., I will have the returning episode 8 of the Best of the Best Countdown, where I will talk about the top 10 fathers and their legacies. Legacies being their son or their daughter or children in general. That will go up. It's going to be my top 10 for that, so you guys can look forward to seeing that. It's just a fun little video just for me to talk, just to talk about these people. Not a serious video, but it's a fun video. But speaking of fun, tonight's Dynamite was a very, very fun show. Enjoyed it. I enjoyed it certainly much more than I did last week's episode of Dynamite. So there was that, but fun show, fantastic matches. Cody for a third straight week in a row defending the TNT Championship in a fantastic match. But who did he defend it against? We'll find out. Kenny Omega, Hangman Page defending the AEW Tag Team titles against the Natural Nightmares. That was a good match. We'll talk about it as well. Plus, the winner of that match, who do they face? The Sex Gods taking on the Best Friends tonight in the main event. The winner becoming the number one contender at Fyter Fest for those tag team titles, plus a whole bunch more. It was a fun episode of Dynamite. So let's just go ahead. Let's get into it, right? This is your Dynamite review for June 17th, 2020. Dynamite, of course, as it is every week, taking place in Daly's Place live on TNT. The show kicks off with the Tag Team Championship match with Paige and Omega taking on the Natural Nightmares. Now, look, fair enough. I asked why this even happened. Were they ever a team? Well, apparently they're 5-0. Maybe I should start watching Dark, and I would probably know some stuff, because I'm assuming that's where they've been teaming up. So, of course, Dustin and QT Marshall coming out with Brandy. No Allie. She was banned from ringside last week by Dustin. This match, man, though, was a great match. A lot better than I thought. Not as good as their match they had a couple weeks ago, but still really, really good match for the tag team titles. Right off the bat, Kenny Omega goes for the one-winged angel. Dustin, though, does end up escaping. These guys go back and forth. Headbutt by Kenny Omega, kind of making both men stumble. Beautiful drop kick by Adam Hangman Page onto QT Marshall. Okay, so this seemed to be a theme for a good majority of the first part of the show. Was Britt Baker passing notes on a string from her wheelchair on her gator to Tony Schiavone at the desk. At this point, it was just random things. Who was it? Later on, Abaddon would come out and she would actually send the quote, and I saw it already in Twitter, "This woman needs Jesus right away," or something like that. Some funny quote about Abaddon needing Jesus. But she says she has isolated herself with the current times, that she is a role model, and yeah, she just keeps passing them to Tony Marshall. Funny little thing just to keep Britt Baker on TV. I'm loving this whole Britt Baker thing. Anyways, back to the match. Kenny Omega, getting worked over by the Natural Nightmares, does fight out of a headlock into a backdrop, fights off, goes for running at Dustin. Dustin hits with a backdrop. Omega, though, with a nice elbow in the corner, then hits the move called the Crusher, gets a hot tag to Kenny Omega. The Crusher is like a knee. Gets the hot tag to Paige, who comes in. He's a house on fire. Follow a slam, followed by a kip up, running elbow diving elbow for the 2 count. Omega with a moonsault off the second rope, only for a 2 count. Some back and forth shots between QT and Adam Page. QT hits a springboard enziguri, kind of like how Tajiri used to springboard off the ropes and then, back into his elbow. He did it, but with an enziguri. Hot tag to Dustin Rhodes, who does clear house. Big power slam onto Adam Page out of the corner. Whisper in the Wind by Dustin off the top rope onto both guys. Some dives to the outside. QT Marshall with a corkscrew to the outside. Sets up the diamond cutter. Omega counters that into his snap underhook German suplex. Canadian Destroyer by Dustin Rhodes. A clothesline from behind by Adam Page. Then I can't talk. A diamond cutter by QT, but only for a 2 count. Ali, though, then comes out, distracts QT just enough. QT, though, goes up top, misses the moonsault. Go a little later into the match. QT hit with the running knee by Kenny Omega for a 2 count. Last call, double team combination by the champions for the 3 count. And still your world tag team champions, Adam Page and Kenny Omega. This was a hard match to keep track of, but it was a very good match. Again, I don't think it was as good as their match a couple weeks ago, but it was very entertaining. They keep the titles. They're going to Fyter Fest to face the winners of the main event that we will get to. I did, though. I enjoyed this match. Great opening to the show. We go on to a promo for Anna Jay, who is re-debuting. She's kind of got like a magician thing going on, the way she dresses. But it is Anna Jay versus Abaddon. Again, the whole she needs Jesus thing from Britt Baker. Hilarious. So for someone who they had this promo package for, they didn't really do much. This was like kind of like a glorified squash match. Abaddon, first of all, I did not see her one other appearance on Dynamite, but this chick, okay. She's just weird. Kind of like Rosemary in a way, for those who are familiar. Like very, very dark. Makeup just makes her look scary as hell. I mean, I'm not scared, but scary as hell. Double leg takedown by Abaddon onto Jay. Anna Jay, though, does fight back, but Abaddon no selling her offense. Abaddon choking Anna Jay over the top ropes with her legs. Ends up hitting a step up Hurricanrana, plants her face first, gets the 3 count. Again, not a lot happened in this match, but Abaddon picks up the win and becomes 1-1 in AEW, and I guess she is officially with AEW as of today. But I don't think that was the story of the match. That's not what they were trying to build towards with this. What they really wanted to talk about was what happened after. So the Dark Order, they come out. Brody Lee sends Grayson and Evil Uno over to Colt Cabana, who they hand a piece of paper to, which you find out is actually a contract for a match with them to team up next week. The others, his minions, I guess, help Anna Jay up and out of the ring. She takes Brody Lee's hand and leaves with them from the ring. So they're now inserting Anna Jay into the Dark Order story. So maybe they repackage her, maybe a darker version of what she already is. And they're continuing the story with Colt Cabana, who, again, looked confused, but he went into the locker room last week, but we didn't find out what was said. So, again, it leaves me intrigued. I want to know what they're doing. I want to know what's going up next. So I will wait and see that to be developed. MJF with Wardlow takes on Billy, who comes out with both Austin and Colton. Colton goes to the back, so Austin stays ringside. This was a much better match. I thought this would be a much quicker match. Maybe not a lot to it. Billy's a much older guy. The size difference between Billy and, oh my goodness. But MJF, of course, gets out of the ring to try to irritate Billy and to avoid Billy. He goes to try to work over the arm, but Billy just kind of looks at him, gets in with a hip toss. MJF's trying to play off, oh yeah, just sportsmanship, buddy. It's Billy. Yeah, a hip toss. Billy, though, does work over MJF. MJF just walks the hell out of the ring after a flurry of offense. Billy, though, actually goes out, picks him up, carries him back into the ring. MJF tries to hit him with a guillotine, but that doesn't work. Billy gets behind him, like literally breathing down his neck, and MJF turns around. He gets kicked. Billy goes for the Famouser, but he moves 2 chop blocks in a row by MJF, who then just gets vicious with that knee. And then the next big part of this match is just MJF working over Billy's leg, with the referee being distracted. You get Billy trying to kick him off during the commercial break, this and that. But he's trying to MJF's trying to wrap the leg around the post, work it over. He gets kicked off. Referee's distracted, so Wardlow just repeatedly running his leg into the post. MJF continues to work over the knee. Billy, though, finally starts to fight back. Huge tilt-a-whirl power slam. Goes again for a Famouser, misses. MJF then applies what they called a calf crusher, but it looked like an Indian death lock. He grabs the ropes, tries to use it. Aubrey Edwards tells him to break the hole, so she literally just kicks him off. He gets up in her face, tells her, you only have one job. That's to count his shoulders and make sure that he taps. Allowing for Billy then to knock him down. Wardlow on the apron tries to distract Billy. Billy knocks him off the apron. Then Wardlow clotheslines Austin on the outside. Billy goes to the outside, tries to get into his face. During all this, MJF ends up with the Dynamite ring. Then he clocks Billy with that in the head, allowing him to get the 3 count. He once again wins. Now, like I said, he was arguing with Jungle Boy during the match, talking smack to him and everything. He again gets in Jungle Boy's face. This time, him and the entire Lucha Express, they all end up brawling. The Jurassic Express. They all end up arguing and fighting, having to have referees and everyone try to break them up. So obviously that's probably going to lead to probably a 6-man or a tag team match at Fyter Fest. It's going to be 2 nights, July 1st and July 8th. I cannot wait. This card is shaping up to be like so good. And it's free, so I ain't got to worry about ordering it. But it's like a pay-per-view 2 nights in a row, or 2 weeks in a row. It's going to be fantastic. Alex Marvez interviews the Sex Gods, asks them why they did what they did to Orange Cassidy. Jericho says they did what they did. They juiced Orange Cassidy last week because he got into their business. A bunch of orange puns. Then they go on to say that they're going to beat the Best Friends, and beat them to a pulp just like they did Orange Cassidy. A interview with Britt Baker, where we now know Penelope Ford will be taking on Hikaru Shida at Fyter Fest for the women's world title. She gets mad at Tony for announcing that, says that they are now in a friendship amount, that people in TNT are gonna like really come down on it. Like, she just goes crazy, tells Reba that they need to go, but it's Big Swole in the driver's seat, and Big Swole's like, well, where you want to go? And then they just speed off to be seen later. Yeah. So far, so fun. So yes, Cody Rhodes for a 3rd week in a row is defending the TNT Championship. He comes out, he says, it's starting to, the air is getting thin, that it's lonely, especially after he was beat by Jake Hager last week. He says, no Matt, no Nick, no Adam, no Kenny. Is he even in the elite anymore? He hopes so. He says, is the Nightmare Family even family anymore? So he hands off the microphone to Arn Anderson, who says, it's a learning curve. He says, Cody believes he can beat Jake Hager. He knows he can beat Jake Hager, but it's all about timing, and the timing's not Right. So he says he's found an opponent who can help, get him ready, good warm up, this and that. And they go to a promo package for Ricky Starks, who I have actually watched wrestle because I was watching freaking hell, I can't think of it. NWA Power. I was watching that stuff. I was loving it. And this dude has got gifts, but he doesn't get enough time to really work. You know what I mean? So they do a real good package to kind of introduce him real quick. So he comes out, and then this match. Whew, third straight week in a row of Cody having these fantastic matches with these people. Cody and him just kind of feeling each other out. Starks, though, slaps Cody in the face, which makes him mad. He goes for him. He gets slapped again. So he's kind of working over Cody, but then Cody hits this beautiful drop kick, gets him on the ropes, gives him a low kick, very reminiscent of one Bob Holly. Cody runs for Starks, but he moves. Cody hits the ropes, neck and ribs first, so he's playing off the ribs being hurt. Starks, who's definitely in control, hits a beautiful DDT. Big elbow to the crown of the head of Cody, and then they run at each other and they crack heads. A swinging DDT attempt by Starks, but Cody counters that, pushes him off, hits him with a power slam. Cody goes for the crossroads. Starks gets out of that. Ends up, though, still getting hit with a standing elevated suplex for only a 2 count. Both men up top. Superplex by Starks. High crossbody through the ropes by Starks. Both men falling, to the outside. Cody goes for the disaster kick. Starks ducks, hits a spear for a 2 count. They exchange a series of a pin attempts, a bridge, etc. Crossroads by Cody spikes him. Like, it was a brutal looking crossroads. He spikes him. 1, 2, 3. Cody retains the TNT Championship, of course, shaking hands with Ricky Starks after the match. Great match. Honest to God. Fantastic match. I thoroughly did enjoy the match. Although, I mean, as good as it was, we already knew Cody was going to win because we already know that he is going to be facing Jake Hager at Fyter Fest, so it kind of already was telegraphed. But still, despite all that, was a great match. And I look forward to seeing who Cody's going to face next week. The Superbad squad with Penelope Ford, of course, that is Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc, taking on the Young Bucks in a tag team match that was just back and forth. Matt Jackson, of course, his ribs and back being worked over the majority of this match. The Young Bucks arguing with the Butcher and the Blade at ringside, allowing for the Superbad squad getting control. Jimmy Havoc, though, hits Matt in the back with a mop sign at one point. The Sabian and Havoc, I can't call them that. I just can't do it. Work over Matt, some joint manipulation. They toss Matt to the outside, go to work him on the ramp. FTR, though, they come out. They're in the Young Bucks corner. A punt to Matt Jackson right in his back and stuff by Sabian. More good teamwork by both of these teams. Sabian goes for a springboard hurricanrana off the top rope. Matt catches him into a sit-out powerbomb. And at this point, he's been worked over for a good part of the match. Hot tag to Nick, who's a house on fire. Matt diving onto the ramp onto Havoc. Sharpshooter in the ring by Nick on Kip Sabian. Kip almost to the ropes. Matt with a big elbow off the top onto him. Penelope Ford, though, gets in the ring, hits Nick with the mop sign, breaks it up. Series of double team moves by the Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian, only to 2 counts on both of those. Get risky business by the Young Bucks for a 2 count. Some more back and forth. Matt hits Northern Light suplex on both Havoc and Sabian. Super kicks. My cable cut out, so I didn't get to see till after the match. Young Bucks win this match. I didn't get to see the ending, sadly, but I know they won. Then you get FTR and the Young Bucks working together to take on Butcher and Blade and Sabian and Havoc. They clear the ring. You get to see the Meltzer driver and the spike pile driver by what is it, the brain buster, mind buster by FTR stereo at the same time, and that's how this ends. Again, it kind of cut out, but you had Taz and Brian Cage, and I apologize, my cable fritzing on me like it did kind of sucked. But Taz and Brian Cage cut a promo in, I guess, a junkyard. Taz upset, hearing Moxley talk crap, says, what you're doing, I've already done. Warns him again. Brian Cage is going to beat him. Brian Cage says he wishes that, Fyter Fest was today. He's like, well, look, you're in, you just take him out. Then you get a rebuttal promo from Moxley, who just goes ham, talks about, letting them survive, calls him a son of a bitch. More of the same as you saw last week, but again, the intensity, especially from Moxley. Brian Cage kind of came off a little scripted to me. I mean, he's not meant to talk. That's obviously why they have Taz with him to help him with that. But he did good with what he did. But Taz and Moxley and their back and forth without even being in the ring, fantastic. So we go to Reba looking for Britt Baker. She finds her in a dumpster, covered. Her makeup's all messed up. She's yelling. She's bossy. Where were you? Oh, I went to the bathroom. You don't go to the bathroom. This is a 24-hour job. You're fired. Oh, I'm fired. She goes like, no, you're rehired. Tells her, where's Tony Schiavone? Oh, you said you were on friendship. Oh, well, he should be here. You text him. You call him. And then she's just going off. Then says that Big Swole's going to be sued. She's going to make her pay. Like, it was crazy. But I love it. Britt Baker and this character is annoying in the right ways. And I'm loving it. Main event time, of course, Matt Hardy on commentary talks about Sammy Guevara a little bit, how he's the future, needs to get away from Jericho. Very good on commentary. This starts with a brawl when the bell rings. Chuck Taylor choking Jericho with his shirt. Excuse me. Told y'all, been a long day, and I got a longer day to come. But, yeah, so LaSex gods, they're all fighting on the outside. Chuck and Sammy are first in the ring. You get a jumping reverse DDT by Chuck. Missile drop kick by Jericho onto Chuck for only a 2 count. Sammy shows his athleticism with a beautiful drop kick on Chuck. LaSex God working over Chuck throughout this match. Jericho, though, misses a lion salt, which allows Trent to get the hot tag. Some big chops onto Sammy. And Matt starts talking about Sammy and how good he actually is. Trent, of course, he's aggressive in this match. That kind of costs him with Sammy getting the upper hand. They continue to work over Trent throughout the commercial break. Trent, though, does fight back, but Jericho cuts him off. I'm sorry, guys. My notes. Always that last page of my notes. Every time they do that. I need to start getting a notepad of something better. Anyways. Sammy runs in the corner. A double stomp by Trent to get out of the ring. And he had this little spot where they pose like the Shawn Michaels pose on it was ridiculous. I think you even had like a head spin by Sammy. I don't know. Chuck, though, gets in the ring, clears the ring, hits a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count, sends Jericho to the outside. Soul Food, half and half German release suplex by the Best Friends. A big knee strike by Trent onto Jericho. Jericho, though, blocks Trent when he's going, I think, for a Hurricanrana. Gets him into a lion tamer. Sammy Guevara dives to the outside, and I thought it was over at this point. Trent, though, gets to the ropes. Jericho runs into a clothesline by Trent. Trent and Sammy Guevara are on top. Chuck assists him with a superplex, an electric chair superplex. There's a breakdown in the ring. Jericho rakes the eyes of Trent as Sammy's running him into the ropes. That goes into a roll-up by Sammy Guevara for only a 2 count. Jericho and Chuck fight on the outside as Chuck tried to get a chair. A bat shot by Sammy Guevara. Again, I thought it was over here. He hits the shooting star press only for a 2 count. Trent then hits his reverse tombstone pile driver. Beautiful, beautiful move. Pin combination 1, 2, 3. Best Friends retain their number 1 contendership. So we are getting the Best Friends versus Paige and Omega at Fyter Fest. After the match, Orange Cassidy shows up in all black with mask, dressed up as a cameraman, takes off his jacket. Jericho's like, no, 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 no. He attacks Chris Jericho, hits him with a Superman punch, and you end the show with Orange Cassidy, his glasses and his jacket, just chilling. Yeah. Good into the show. Good start, good end. Link in the show. It's a bookend. Fantastic show. I enjoyed Dynamite much more than I did last week, so fantastic episode of Dynamite. Cannot wait till next week. They announced a ton of matches that looked really good. They were going to get next week, so it's looking like we're going to get another great episode. I guess technically this would be the go-home episode for Fyter Fest next week. I promise you guys won't see this on my NXT review. I promise. So that's it. That was Dynamite. Fantastic show. I'm giving this show an 8.5 tonight. It was a fantastic show. Just remember, I will not be doing SmackDown this coming week, but I will have my Father's Day video on Sunday, so you guys will be able to watch that. Monday Night Raw, I should be back doing Raw on Monday. I will see you guys all tomorrow morning for NXT. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. And remember, y'all have a great night. Have a great Father's Day this weekend if you don't see me again. And remember, join the nation.